So it's been a quiet week in Hidden Hollow. It's rained a lot, actually, almost every day. We don't really mind the rain, especially after the heat of last week. We kind of needed it. But the rain means you're cooped up in the house. And so that means you can kind of get in each other's hair a little bit. Mrs. Cherryheart decided to go out and clean the garage because she's learned from experience that when you go out to clean the garage, people leave you alone. They're afraid that if they come too close to ask you about anything or for anything, they will be enlisted to help. So anybody around Hidden Hollow that just wants a little bit of time to themselves, they just go clean the garage. Although, if I'm honest, staying out of Mr. Cherryheart's hair isn't really much of a problem. Speaking of being cooped up, we are in the middle of a pandemic here in Hidden Hollow, the same as the rest of the world. And when we first heard that there was a pandemic, we felt sad and scared of the whole range of emotions. And then they said we're going on lockdown and might bring in the National Guard. We all had visions of being shot against the wall when we go out in the middle of the night to buy medicine for our sick babies, like the horror stories we had heard about in Russia and Germany. But then they told us that no, it was fine. You could buy groceries, you could get medicine, you could go outside and go on bike rides and horse rides, drives around the lake. You could even buy food as long as you took it with you and ate it someplace other than the restaurant. So we began to ask ourselves, how is this any different than normal life? This is just the way we live in Hidden Hollow. So this attitude continued until this past week, when they informed us that there would be no fair. People spent all year preparing for the fair. Some of the ladies sewed and canned and took photographs. The men got their trucks ready for the truck pulls or tractors. The young girls practiced running their barrels, and all the 4-H kids picking that perfect animal and walking it and bathing it. And now they tell us no fair meant no little baby lambs or tiny little pigs. No great big draft horses with feet bigger than a dinner plate. No Ferris wheel rides in the evening looking out over the lights of Hidden Hollow. No talking to the self-appointed heads of department holding court in the aisleways. And no seeing those faces that you only get to see once a year, a little older, a little more weathered, but so very dear. No fair would meant not getting to hear the roar of the trucks as they tried to pull the sled down the track, the scream of the children on the rides, whether from fear or delight, it was kind of hard to tell. The melodic chant of the judges as they described the pros and cons of each and every animal. And through it all, the rippling sound of laughter, which was a true indication of just how much the fair meant to all of us. But the one sound of the fair was the concert. It's pretty much the only concert the people of Hidden Hollow go to through the years. And this year it was to be Brad Paisley. The guy on the radio says, "Oh, just think, if there had been a fair this year, you would have got to hear Brad Paisley last night." We're still trying to figure out what to do to that announcer. And then there are the smells of the fair. You may think you don't want to hear about the smells of the largest agricultural fair in the state, but trust me, you do. The pig barn does not smell like pigs. It smells like fresh ground corn and the earthy smell of wood chips. The horse barn smells like a heady mixture of expensive shampoo and the timeless scent of leather. If you walk down the midway, you smell frying onions and peppers, which doesn't smell very good to me, but drives Mr. Cherry Heart crazy. And over it all is that aroma of cinnamon and vanilla from the roasted almond booth. It's such a comforting scent. You only get it at the fair and Grandma's house on Christmas. That's pretty much it. And then there are the tastes of the fair. For many, this means the shivers: red, blue, green flavored ice that turns your tongue and lips a fluorescent color and stays with you for about a week. For many, it means the aforementioned sausage sandwiches. But for me and mine, it primarily comes down to two booths, and as fate would have it, they're relatively close together, so that's very convenient. The first is the garbage fry booth, Grandpa's. Garbage fries might sound a little disgusting, but they take fresh cut fries, season them to perfection, and cook them to a crispy hot consistency. Then they put a spicy chili mixture, not too spicy so as to burn your mouth, just full of flavor. And over the chili mixture, they put lots of rich, creamy cheese, then a few onions, some banana peppers and jalapeno peppers if you're feeling brave. And over the top of everything, ranch dressing. I think that you're probably getting the picture as to why they're called garbage fries, because the look of them just kind of looks like something that was left over off of everybody else's plates, but the taste of them will stay with you till you're old and senile, and when you're sitting in the nursing home wringing your hands, you will be thinking about garbage fries. And then just a couple more steps and around the corner, and there you are at the 4-H ice cream booth, where they take fresh cream and churn it into custard, flavor some of it with a very rich fudgy chocolate. You can only get chocolate and vanilla because they have a very small booth and they want to keep it moving. Generally, we get it twisted. And the cones are so tall that they're as big as the children's faces. And when you hand one of these cones to a child, it looks like you've given them $1 million. Their faces just light up. Usually it's the first ice cream that any of our babies ever get to taste. Just a little taste, no matter how young they are, because after all, it's the fair. No hair, the Dixon child said, too young to correctly speak, when someone took the last red popsicle or sat in his favorite seat. His mother gently scooped him up and solemnly delivered this speech: "Life is never fair. The sooner you get used to it, the happier you'll be." She had to repeat this message through the years, when an injustice sent her child to tears. But soon they became philosophical about the things they could not change, and concentrated instead on having a good name. They understood that the preacher's kid would be the only one to sing, take up the offering every week, and the bell they would surely ring. They know beyond a doubt that the director's kid would get the lead in a play. And it's who you know, not what you do, that gets you the blue in 4-H. In some parts of the country, when things like this occur, they hold up signs and make some noise and stomp their feet for sure. But here in Hidden Hollow, we are much too busy being all that we can be. We are working hard, going the extra mile, and loving unconditionally. And that's the news from Hidden Hollow, where all the men are fair of face, all the women are full of grace, and all the children are loving and giving.